responding pretty well.
Dr. Aikman, may I speak with you?
Dr. Collins, as you are well aware, your father is no longer a patient at this hospital. Why are you here?
Well, I had a blood panel run on my father. Imagine my surprise when I found he had almost no hemotin at all in his system.
That's not our fault. We put him on the dosage you recommended. His metabolism must have changed.
Well, he's doing just fine now on that same dosage.
But you found that.
Regardless of what you say, Doctor, my father was not getting proper treatment here.
Maybe he spit out his meds.
Victor's always been diligent about his medication. Someone wanted him out of the way.
That's a far-fetched idea.
Humor me. I want to see Gray Cooper's files.
Why?
He's a patient here. You know his history. He's killed 3 people, and he almost killed both my father and I in an explosion that he caused at Forest Hills.
I can't see how Cooper's medical records are relevant.
I want to see if Cooper has alibis for the general homicide murders.
It's against policy. His records are confidential.
Fine. So, which do you prefer, Doctor? A subpoena or a lawsuit?
I'll get the files.
Well, if it isn't the brilliant Dr. Miss Quartermain herself. How did a smart cookie like you end up in a spot like this, huh?
I'm here for the same reason you are, Frank. To testify at Julie's trial. And with my luck, I get to hang out here in the hall with you.
Oh, testy. But then I can understand why it's one thing to give the cops a phony alibi, but tap dancing for a judge is completely different.
Go away.
Or will you take that whole truth and nothing but the truth thing to heart and admit you've been lying?
So, Detective, what did you observe at the murder scene?
I saw Bennett Devlin's body lying on the floor with a fountain pen stuck in his chest.
Is this the fountain pen?
Yes, it is.
Detective, who did this pen belong to?
Bennett Devlin's daughter, Dr. Julie Devlin.
And how did you determine that?
We matched teeth marks that were on the pen to a dental impression we took of Miss Devlin.
Whose fingerprints were found on this murder weapon?
Dr. Julie Devlin's.
Did you find any hair or tissue samples on the body that might have resulted from a struggle?
We found hair tangled in the victim's cufflink.
Whose hair was it?
Dr. Julie Devlin's.
Let's see. Her pen, with her fingerprints on it, was found lodged in her father's heart. Her hair was wrapped around his cufflink, yet she denied killing him?
That's correct.
Then Miss Devlin must have had an airtight alibi for the time her father was murdered.
No, sir, she did not. As a matter of fact, Miss Devlin had no alibi at all.
What about you, Mr. Whole Truth and Nothing But? Are you going to turn yourself in for beating Chris within an inch of his life?
So he told you what happened? You're lucky you weren't home when I dropped by.
Is that a threat, Frank? Because if you come anywhere near me, I will rip you a new nostril.
I won't have to hurt you, sweetheart. You're going to be ripped apart on the stand. Not only don't you have an alibi for Devlin's murder, but you're going to have to explain why you ditched your bracelet in the harbor. Remember the one? It was found laying next to Devlin's corpse.
Listen to me, Frank. I did not kill anyone. Get that through your thick skull. I didn't kill Devlin. I didn't kill Grace. I didn't kill Jake or Dr. May. But your little frizzy-haired girlfriend, on the other hand, is just twisted enough to have done them all in. So you listen to me. You proclaim her innocence to the whole world. You go ahead. But the only opinion that matters now is the jury.
When you first met Julie Devlin, she was using the name Julie Morris. Do you know why she lied about her identity?
Objection. Your Honor, taking her mother's maiden name hardly makes Dr. Devlin guilty of murder.
Your Honor, I am trying to establish the nature of the defendant's relationship with her father.
Overruled. You may answer the question.
Miss Devlin said she didn't want to live in her father's shadow. Bennett Devlin was domineering. His daughter resented the way that he tried to manipulate her.
Objection. Detective Garcia's opinions are not relevant here.
Your Honor, part of Detective Garcia's job in a missing persons case is to analyze the missing person's family. He's trained to make these kind of observations.
I'll allow it.
Did Julie tell you the last words she spoke to her father?
They argued about an affair that he had. She told him that she wished he were dead.
Why did she react so strongly?
The affair was with her brother's girlfriend. Miss Devlin's brother committed suicide 2 days after he learned of it.
Is this the same brother that Julie was accused of murdering?
Objection.
I didn't. They questioned the whole family.
Please restrain yourself.
Is that true?
That's news to me.
Your Honor, the prosecutor's remark is speculative. No charges were ever brought against my client. I move to strike.
Sustained. You pull that kind of stunt again, and I'll find you in contempt.
Yes, Your Honor.
The jury is instructed to please disregard the testimony, and it will be stricken from the record.
But he can't strike it from their minds.
All right. How about now?
It's perfect. Almost. You just put the left corner up a bit.
All right.
One more. More.
All right, look, this isn't the Louvre, lady. Is it okay?
You're right. It's absolutely perfect.
All right, here's some text. All right. So, you like?
Awesome.
You know what this calls for, don't you? Celebratory bounce.
Yeah. One of these days, you two are going to break that bed.
No, this bed cannot be broken. It is designed for belly flops, jumping contests, and commando raids. It is totally boy-proof.
This is the coolest. And so is the poster. Thanks for getting it for me.
Oh, you're welcome, but I can't take all credit. Karen got it for you, actually. But I'm glad you like it. I have my eye on a Mickey Mantle vintage poster, too, Neil.
Oh, Joe, no. You've already done way too much for us. You don't need to buy Neil presents.
I don't mind.
That's a spare part.
Hey, don't gang up on me.
Mom, you said Joe would be a good influence on me here. And hey, you're right.
Yep. All right. Well, it looks like my work here is done. I'll see you later, buddy, okay?
Okay.
Wait, could you help me get my suitcases into the closet?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Oh!
Sorry, my fault. I'm sorry. You okay?
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Sorry about that. There you go, buddy.
I'll put my backpack under the bed.
Okay.
Perfect, thanks.
Look at this.
What is it?
What, buddy?
Remember, there's some baseball cards in it.
Let's see.
Needles.
Cooper has never stepped foot out of this institution since the day he was transferred here.
But he's had visitors, which means he's had contact with the outside world. I won't be satisfied until I question him.
Well, he's on his way. But I don't want you badgering him. Cooper's been a model patient since he's been here. His only problem seems to be lapses into long silences. Greg, this is Dr. Collins. He'd like to speak with you.
I know who he is.
Have a seat.
Please.
I cannot believe I just found syringes and a vial in a place where a kid could get his hands on it.
Thank goodness we were there when he found it. Who do you think this belongs to?
I don't know. The last person to live in that room was Eve. And then you planned to take that room, but then you didn't want it. You wanted my mom's room instead.
I wish I would have taken it now. Then maybe I would have found it instead of Neil. Do you think this is Frank's?
Wow, why do you say that?
I heard Frank discussing Deal 56 with Lark. I know he used to take it.
Well, that was supposed to be a secret.
I won't repeat it.
Watching Frank go through detox was horrible. I hate to think he was using this stuff again, Courtney, but... I mean, why else would this be stashed in my house?
Mr. Pearson, can I roll camera? Hi.
No comment. No comment.
How's it going in there?
It doesn't look real good for Julie.
Yeah, the prosecution's having a great day.
The judge has called a recess. Garcia's due back on the stand, and his testimony's running long. You two won't have to testify today.
So we're free to go?
Yes, but you're still under subpoena, so don't go too far. I'll let you know when I'm ready to call you.
Hey, let's get some coffee.
You listen to me. I meant what I said earlier. I will do whatever it takes to make sure Julie beats this.
Every word out of Garcia's mouth made me look guilty.
Come on now, listen. The prosecutor always makes the defendant look like evil incarnate on the first day. I'm going to change that all around in cross-examination.
The jury looked at me like they wanted me to burn at the stake. You know, I thought I was ready for this, but I never expected it to be so bad.
Look, you've got to keep the faith. All we've got to do is create a reasonable doubt. I'm going to poke holes in the good detective's theories. Honest.
I like it here. All the stress is removed. And stress that can get to a person. I get my meals on time. Someone cleans up for me. There are a variety of activities. Staff is kind. Most of my fellow patients are pleasant. Your father was nice. I regret I didn't get to spend more time with him. When the two of us were at Forest Hills, I never had the pleasure of his company.
My father almost died in the explosion you set off there. You recall that?
I was sick then. That's why I'm so glad to be here now. I'm getting better.
Well, you paint a terrific picture of this place. Don't you miss the outside world?
No. It's a wicked world.
Well, I agree bad things happen. But I don't believe the world is wicked.
So I guess some of those bad things would include the serial murders based on your novel? Well, I heard you discussing it on the radio. How does it feel to be the author of a book that's inspired so many murders?
I wonder what it was in my story that triggered the rampage. Do you have any idea?
I'm sure I don't know. It spawned from your sick mind. I presumed you're the killer.
Me?
Time for your medication, Greg. You better get back to your room.
Hey, how was today's episode of Perry Mason?
Don't ask.
I gather things didn't go too well on the witness stand.
I was never even called. I hung out in the hallway, then they sent me home because Garcia wasn't finished testifying. God, I wish this were over. I am so afraid of what they're going to ask me. And if that doesn't kill me, Frank will.
Did he try something?
No, but he spewed enough venom in my direction. I'd like to think it was just a bunch of hot air, but after what he did to you...
What, this? Oh, come on. This is nothing. I mean, no fire-breathing Irishman, bad manners is going to do much damage to my big head. This is where you're supposed to say that I've had a swelled head for years and no bump is gonna
Stop
make a
it,
difference.
Chris, okay? This is no joke. Frank is really scary. I think taking that DL-56 has really changed him. He's all hopped up all the time.
So I've noticed.
He makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up.
Look, just stay away from Frank, okay? It's what I intend to do.
The more I think about this, the more I think that Frank taking DL-56 could have turned him into a killer.
What's up? Something wrong with Neil?
He's fine.
But something's very wrong, Frank. Just look familiar.
I've seen hypos before. I don't know if I've seen those.
Neil found it behind a baseboard in his room.
It's a nice present for a kid to come home to, huh? You want to tell me what's going on, Frank?
So why are you in my face about it? It's not mine.
Frank, are you taking DL-56 again?
So, now what, this is public knowledge? You told her?
Frank, she already knew.
I heard you and Lark discussing that you had used it in the past.
Great. Look, Joe, after the torture I went through to get off that damn drug, you think I'd put myself through that hell again?
What are vial and needles doing in our house, Frank?
I don't have a clue. You don't even know if it's DL-56. Wait a minute. You moved Neil into Eve's old room, right? This is a woman's shoebox. This could belong to Eve. It might even have something to do with the murder. She's into it up to her neck.
I have no idea that there's anything.
This could be something to prove they have the wrong person on trial. We need to show Garcia.
Do you believe Bennett Devlin's murder was a crime of passion?
That was my opinion at first.
Oh, have you changed your mind?
Yes, sir, I have.
Why?
Because of the pattern of murders followed.
And what pattern was that?
The killings have all been based on the book General Homicide.
Let's take this one at a time, Detective. Bennett Devlin was killed exactly like the character of Neville Melvin in General Homicide.
Yes, his character was stabbed in the heart with a fountain pen.
Who was the next victim?
That would be Grace Sullivan. She was strangled at a circus, as was her character in the book.
Did you find any evidence linking the defendant to this murder?
An eyewitness saw Dr. Julie Devlin strangling Grace Sullivan with a stethoscope.
Objection. If they intend to introduce Victor Collins' testimony, they've got to call him to the stand.
Overruled. I'll allow the detective to lay groundwork for future testimony.
Who was the next victim?
Dr. Jake Marshak. He was hung at the nurse's ball.
Is that how his character died in the book?
No, actually, his death was a hybrid of the way two of the characters in the book died. The characters based on Lucy Coe and Dr. Karen Wexler.
Did you find any evidence linking the defendant to Jake Marshak's death?
An eyewitness saw someone in a sailor suit on the catwalk near where Mr. Marshak's body was later found.
Did the defendant wear a sailor suit that evening?
Yes, she did. It was her costume for her number at the nurse's ball.
Cassandra May was the last victim, correct?
Yes.
And how was she killed?
She died of cyanide poisoning.
How?
Forensics believe she ingested the poison with a piece of chewing gum.
At what time?
Between 2 and 4 p.m.
Dr. May is a very busy doctor. She must have seen a lot of people in those 2 hours.
According to her logbook, she set the time aside for paperwork. She had only one appointment that afternoon, and that was a consultation at 2:15 with Dr. Julie Devlin.
At one point during your investigation, someone claiming to be the killer called radio station WLPC.
That is correct.
Did you put a trace on calls coming into that station?
Yes, sir, I did.
Is that how you caught the defendant?
No, the killer called the residence of Dr. Kevin Collins. We traced that call to the home of Francis and Joseph Scanlon.
And that's where Julie Devlin rents an apartment, yes?
Yes. Yes.
And what did you find when you arrived?
We found Dr. Julie Devlin at home alone with a voice activator.
So is Greg Cooper cooperative?
He seemed to be.
Well, let us know if we can be of help in the future.
I will. Thank you. Kevin. Oh, Kevin. In here. Hey, fancy meeting you here. Now, don't rush off. Take a look around. Get to know the place. Get used to the surroundings. When people find out what you've done, they'll lock you up in a place exactly like this one. And we both know it's where you belong.
This is Lisa McCree. Monday, the latest clues into the cause of the Swiss Air Flight 111 crash. Plus, what's worth watching this fall? A preview of TV's new season, Monday on Good Morning America.
Lucy has a monster-sized nightmare. Visit abc.com for a sneak peek at next week's Port Charles.